Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead, 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 all right.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back, Metalheads, to another episode of the Great Metal Debate Podcast. I'm Xander, and today we'll be looking at the debut album from the band Haliphron, titled Pray. This symphonic blackened death metal band from the Netherlands has given us a new modern art masterpiece. Having these newcomers signed with Listenable Records just might be the best decision the label has ever made. I foresee a future where this album will be revered as a classic in the next 20 to 30 years. This band may have clearly been inspired by old school acts, but I assure you that they still have managed to produce stellar content that doesn't sound like anything recycled, with the exception of another pointless skippable intro track. The song structures are all completely original musical scores. Haliphron has found a way to keep listeners engaged, with keyboard work that gives off that old piano sound. Judging by the music video for the song Human Inferno, David Rojas appears to be using an electronic keyboard, so I am sure he just has it on a particular setting to produce those haunting keys. As for the song, I will say that the keyboard seems to have more of a echoing cathedral vibe, as it is tuned to an organ setting. There's even church bell rings scattered throughout the track, and a choir background recorded and thrown into the mix. All throughout this year's March Metal Madness, it seems as though some of the very best releases were saved for last. All of the best ones of that month have come out on the 31st. As it currently stands, this is my favorite release of the year, so far. We still have 9 more months to get through 2023. While we're still on the subject of my favorite things, let's go ahead and praise my favorite song on the album, The Resistance. If you're not yet convinced that this band is the love child of Septic Flesh and Dimmu Borgir, then you will be by the end of this song. It is the perfect blend of gothic classical music with traditional melodic black and roll style vocals performed by Marlos Voskal. I knew that there was another reason to enjoy this band, especially since this is Frank Schilperut's new side project band. You might know him as the drummer for God Dethroned. As a longtime fan, it was an amazing discovery. His rhythm and speed are noticeable in the studio mixing throughout the entirety of this record. Notably, the drums really stood out in the opening track, The Killing Spree. It begins with a drum roll, and the guitar chugs are in sync with the keyboard towards the end of the song, which makes the whole thing extraordinary. The last minute of the song sounds eerily reminiscent of New Age Cradle of Filth, a band that I am also a huge fan of. Mother of All Evil might be a somewhat generic song title, but the music is anything but cliché. Forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation of these guys' names, but the two guitarists, Roman Plog and Jeroen Witchglayer, make their basic riffs sound good. The whole band is a breath of fresh air, and the keyboards do a great job of smoothly tying everything together. The beginning of the song Perfect Existence displays a sweet bass solo from Jessica Oaten. It's just a shame we don't hear much else from her throughout the rest of the album. The keyboard is my favorite aspect of this group, as I feel like it is a key component, full pun intended. This one just might be my second favorite song, as it is certainly one of the more symphonic tracks. We even get a nice guitar solo in this one. Then we get the album title song, Pray, which delivers impactful moments, such as the evil choir and the guitar riff during the song's midpoint. Very calm and melodic, and then leads into a nice groovy solo. Another thing I really appreciate is the length of these songs. They all seem to surpass the 5-minute mark, but never the 7th. I also enjoy the old Middle Eastern feel of the intro to Schizophrenia, which is considered a bonus track. I also like the creepy little girl voice in the middle of the song telling us that we're all going to die. It's a nice touch that truly adds to the dark atmosphere that this band has crafted. It also does that thing where the whole band stops for a second and then comes back. The final track, Unidentified Mass, was actually the first single the band put out last year. It provides listeners with a very ominous tone that will stick with people for years to come. As I said earlier in this review, this is my current favorite album of the year, but I still feel like it's too early to call it. However, I will definitely give it an extremely high rating. I'm going to give Haliphron, Pray, a rightfully earned and well-deserved 9.5 out of 10. Definitely make sure you show your support for Haliphron by buying their music from their Bandcamp page, and you can stream their music anywhere.